Well, friends, first of all, I must admit that I have not joined government through the regular channels of recruitment, which means the jobs meant which are more permanent in nature. I'm not posted in one of those jobs. I have acquired or I'm occupying this position, which is generally reserved for experts in the field. They are more technical in nature, and on these kind of posts, the recruitment rules are very different, and these are not as such permanent jobs. Rarely they are permanent. I'll talk about these kind of jobs little later, but for your interest, what I have learned about government jobs and opportunities both in the government of India and state governments, I will give you a brief overview in next 5 minutes. I'm sure you're all very familiar with civil services. A common perception is that civil services comprise IAS, Indian Administrative Service, IPS, Indian Police Service, IFS, Indian Foreign Service. But in fact, civil services comprise about 20 Group A type of services and about 5 Group B type of services. And to name a few, Indian Revenue Service, Indian Forest Service, Indian Railway Service, Indian Excise Service, Indian Statistical Services, etc. They all are part of Indian Postal Service, Indian Information and Broadcasting Services. They are all part of Group A civil services. And in Group B, there are other cadre services such as secretarial services, where you enter as section officers, inspectors in excise, and so on. One can have a look at the whole list of civil services. Just have to visit the website of Department of Personnel and Training in Government of India, popularly known as DOPT, or you could also log on to the website of Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy for IAS. LBS is the short form, popularly the academy is known for. And now, for all these services, one has to go through its 3-stage entrance examination, which is very, very demanding. To give you an idea, about 4 to 5 lakh candidates every year appear in civil services examination, and at the end, about 300 to 400 candidates are selected. So you can see the percentage of selected candidates versus the candidates who apply is extremely low. Not even 1% candidates make to civil services Group A posts, including Group B type of posts. Just about last week, no, it's not last week, just about 2 days ago, we hosted in the National Institute for the Visually Handicapped at Dehradun, where I work currently, the IAS the civil service probationers in 4 batches, and our interaction with them was extremely fruitful. Why I mentioned this, just to give you an idea, that in 4 batches we had about 360 probationers or trainee officers visiting us this year. That's the kind of number finally make to the civil services after going through that 3-stage examination. I'm sure you are all familiar with the scheme of examination. In the first stage, people sit for, as you call, prelims or preliminary examination. This is basically conducted through a host of centers in the country, and advertisement regarding the time, etc., you can generally see in the daily newspapers and employment news. After filing your application, you are invited to sit in the exam. The preliminary exam basically comprises of 2 papers, one general knowledge and one choice subject. And the subject choice is yours, always, of the candidate. But out of the list of subjects already determined by Union Public Service Commission, because Union Public Service Commission, UPSC, is the recruiting agency for civil services. So they determine the list of subjects out of which you can choose. And it's a fairly large list of subjects encompassing all fields and areas, humanities to science, technology, languages, etc. There's a fairly wide list of choices, subjects given there, and all the students who opt for humanity courses, commerce, science, and I know popularly blind people go for humanity, liberal arts subjects, law and languages. So you all are fit to apply and eligible to apply and can always conveniently choose a subject of your choice. After one clears the preliminary examination, the prelim as you call it, you sit for the mains. Now the main exam comprises of about 9 papers. Of the 9 papers, 2 are about general knowledge. And in general knowledge, again, you have a choice. So your paper 1 is a compulsory paper in general knowledge, and the second paper is paper of your choice. So you can choose the areas in which you wish to be tested. There is a compulsory language paper, and the language paper includes knowledge about one of the Indian languages. Out of the 18 official languages, you will be tested on one, and the other would be a foreign language, and popularly people choose English. It could be also other recognized foreign languages in India, for example, French and German. Then, apart from this time in the mains, you are given a choice to opt for 2 subjects. Not necessarily the one you chose during your prelim exams. You can choose entirely another set of new subjects, or it could be a repetition of the subject for which you sat in your prelim exam. It's always better to repeat one of your favorite subjects from the prelim, because it gives you better opportunity to deepen your knowledge on that particular subject, so chances of scoring better are higher. But the other subject is entirely your, again, choice. Apart from the general knowledge, language, subject choice, you should also be ready with different type of preparation is required for your interviews. So after you've cleared these 9 papers, which are generally designed in a multiple choice manner, except there is one essay paper which I wanted to mention and just forgot actually. So the only descriptive paper is the essay paper. Rest of them are multiple choice and false and true types, but more multiple choice. So your knowledge about your choice subjects, about the language, etc., must be very precise and to the point, and that requires in-depth study of the choice subjects and in-depth knowledge on current affairs, which I must highlight here. Then you sit for your interview. At the stage of interview, this whole sifting process, the prelims and mains, bring a list of about 800 to 1,000 candidates. Generally double the number of candidates to be selected, or sometimes it's treble. So if it is treble, then it's about 1,200 candidates, and out of that 1,200, 300 odd are selected finally. And after you're selected, then you go through a rigorous training of 2 years where you work as professional, and that's the time you join the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy. An academy course of 2 years comprise theory and practice, and this exposes you to a number of situations where an administrator, both in the civil or police or otherwise, has to manage in their once they assume charge of their particular cadre service. So this is the way the government service is organized. Now, who is eligible? I'm sure that's a concern of everyone. For my blind friends and disabled friends, I can say that general rule is that you should be at least of 21 years of age and not more than 30. But in case of the blind and other disabled candidates, the relaxation has been given in the upper age limit for 10 years. So your age can be up to 40 years for applying for the civil services. Because that's the advantage you have been accorded in last 5 or 10 years. Then, in terms of your academic qualification, I think it's made very, very easy entry for, I think, so far as tests are concerned. Anybody who's a graduate with 45% of marks can appear. That's the criteria. Then usually people attempt more than one time. There are only very few candidates who make to civil services in one go. It's a general case that you apply more than one time because first time you get a whole idea about the civil services examination system, which is very demanding, as I said, and quite challenging as well. So first round one gets an idea and a flavor of the whole examination and interview system. But second time you become more mature and your understanding is far better than before. Usually people are able to clear their prelims if they are serious about getting into government jobs. But we've seen over last 10 years more and more people getting interested in private sector jobs as opposed to civil services. But at the contrary, when it comes to my disabled friends, we see that trend is quite different. More and more people are interested in getting into government jobs than getting into the private sector jobs. I think there must be a host of factors responsible for this. One of them we can identify, and that is that before 1996, the Group A type of jobs were not even open. Even after they opened up and reservation was made available, numerous obstacles were encountered by people who qualified civil services examination, and you all are aware that people had to resort to justice through the medium of Supreme Court and high courts. And fortunately today the situation has changed and changed for better. Today, out of this total of 25 civil services, blind people are eligible to get into government jobs benefiting from the reservation policy for at least 10 to 12 civil services, if not all 25. Some of the services have not declared themselves adequate for entry by blind candidates, for example, the police service, IPS, and some others, of course, CAG, Controller for Accounts, Audit is not felt. They're not at the moment very confident about having blind candidates in their service, but we are working on it, and hopefully another question of 1 or 2 years, because several other account services have opened their doors for blind people. For example, railway accounts has, and so has certain public sector undertakings in the government, because the government jobs are not only limited to these encarded jobs in the quote-unquote ministerial type of jobs, but they are also in the public sector. Public sector, although it is shrinking, but it's fairly large if you see, if you count the banks into it and the big power companies and gas companies are big employers of disabled people. And I've seen last 10 years lot of young blind people entering Indian Oil Corporation, NTPC, Bharat Petroleum, and so on, Coal Authority of India, Road Authority of India, etc. Oh, these are new opportunities, and young people amongst the blind have I think, grabbed these opportunities, and they have already made a mark of their presence in various public sector companies. I know a few candidates who are very respected wherever they are working, and one feels very happy about listening to the success stories of these candidates, because right now they are performing the ambassadorial duties on your behalf, because their performance will enhance the confidence of employers, and also in turn will create more opportunities, and there will be once there's more openness about having the blind people, the chances are that not only one is taken into government jobs on reserve vacancies, but also people will start considering blind candidates on posts that are not reserved at the moment. Although from a legal perspective, I can tell you there is no embargo on getting into government service for anyone, because our constitution makes it very clear, first of all in Article 14, where it guarantees equality to all citizens without discrimination, and it makes it more explicit provision of that equality in Article 16(1) of the Constitution. And then in 16(4), in order to ensure that that equality is not a equality which is just on paper, we call de jure equality, but it's a real equality or de facto equality. 16(4) in that sense is very important for us, where the guarantee of non-discrimination in work, in the matter of work or in places of work, is guaranteed. Although the Constitution does not enlist or count disabled persons in the list of heads counted for protection against discrimination, but through an interpretation of the court that has been clarified. So we much feel confident that Article 16(4) is there to protect us against any discrimination in the matter of work. And that interpretation is available in a very famous case called Indira Sani, where Supreme Court determined the roster system. And in that case, if you look at para 30 and 32 of that judgment, what you find is an interpretation specific in the context of disabled, where court says that the disabled require protection against discrimination, because they are to whichever caste or class they belong, they are backward within their forward class, and state has a responsibility to ensure equality in the matter of work for them. And that is why you have this provision of 3% reservation, because these interpretations have a clear bearing on the kind of law that followed in the 90s, under which you got the benefit of 3% reservation in jobs in all types, in all services, and all grade levels in the government.